You know, I'm getting really tired of having to remind people this. So, what I'm starting to think is maybe you shouldn't know how the voting process works. Because if you're too stupid to educate yourself on how the voting process works, you're probably not equipped to be voting for our representatives in the first place. I'm going to explain this one more time, and this is only because Amazing Atheist made this video about who's going to win the presidency between Mitt Romney and Obama, and because Amazing Atheist is a hack, of course he, just leans toward the Democratic Party as opposed to what would really be the better issue here. I mean, let's face it, if Mitt Romney is really more liberal than Barack Obama, wouldn't you vote for Mitt Romney regardless of what his partisan ticket is? But no, at the end of the day, in the back of his mind, Amazing Atheist thinks Republicans bad, regardless of their positions on an issue. So, I'm going to break it down for you why the president doesn't matter, and it has nothing to do with the fact that, yes, they all think alike. That's besides the point. What the point is that you don't vote for the president. How many times do I have to fucking say this? It is the other houses of government that vote for the president. The representatives vote for the president. The Senate votes for the president. You do not vote for the president. What you do when you check either Obama or Mitt Romney in 2012 is you are telling your state representatives and senators where you lean. And then from there, the state representatives and senators decide to themselves, do I want to vote the way the people voted and look good on paper next time my election comes around? Or do I want to vote for whoever the fuck I'm going to vote for and probably got lobbied to vote for? That's what it comes down to. That's why Ron Paul is such a con man. He knows goddamn well he wasn't going to win. He knows he wasn't going to win the primary, and he sure as hell knows he wasn't going to win the election. He just took your money and you let him. You so-called free market physical conservatives who know what to do with your money, keep the government away from it, just threw your money at Ron Paul and he's laughing at you. He's buying bitches and coke with his money right now and fucking laughing at your stupid ass giving him money for his presidential campaign, which he was never going to win and never has won. He's been doing this since 1980. How long is it gonna take? But you'd rather listen to rich-ass Alex Jones than the people around you. And did you even go to school? Do you remember, I'm sure they talked about this in school, how the political process works. And did you just sleep through that? What? Because I fail to imagine how 90% of Americans do not fucking know how this shit works. If you are going to vote for anybody, worry about who you're going to vote for as a senator and a state representative and your governor. That's what you focus on, because the state representatives are going to bump heads and be the ones to propose a law. When they agree to it in a majority, it goes to the Senate floor. Then the Senate bumps heads and decides if that law should pass. Then it moves on to the president's hands, who you didn't vote for, mind you. And he's either going to agree to sign it or veto it. But if he vetoes it, that's a massive troll, and he probably won't get elected next time. So, if you really want to see a president or any politician's true roots, you wait for their final term. Because that's when they'll show their true colors, because they've got nothing to lose. So, the president signs the bill. Then, the Supreme Court dictates whether or not that is constitutional. And if the bill is constitutional, hey, it goes through. If it's not constitutional, they may have to re-amend it. They may have to do something else to it. It may get completely depleted. Whatever. And the Supreme Court is also not picked by you. The Supreme Court is picked by the president. He handpicks the Supreme Court. And then from there, the Senate and state representatives either agree or disagree that those were good choices. So, in reality, the president could pick fucking chickens to be Supreme Court nominees. I mean, literal cock chickens. And then, if the Senate and House of Representatives are okay with it, your new representatives are now farm animals. That's how your Supreme Court judges are now farm animals. That's how it works. I don't know how many fucking times I gotta say this. where, it's just a circle jerk party. That's what it is between all the houses. They have to circle jerk one another and compromise and things like that. That's why they're so much alike. Because if they don't compromise, it doesn't get done. Because you have this Senate floor and the state of representatives and president and Supreme Court, and on some level they have to all agree with one another, and if they don't, it slows down everything. And then, to top it all off, you have your democratic monarchies of individual states with the governors. And pretty much the governor can do whatever the fuck he wants to. When you vote for a governor, you're shit out of luck. Because he never has to listen to a goddamn word you say. And the only thing motivating him to be a nice guy is not getting elected the next 4 years around, and the fact that if he gets too out of hand, the federal government might step in and not give him his state allowance. Because it's like a corporation. When an individual store acts up, the bigwigs at corporate hear about it, and then take away from that individual store's allowance. That's why the Civil War happened. Because a bunch of states got together, like if a bunch of Walmart stores individually would have gotten together and be like, we don't need to take this shit. We can combine our efforts and impose our will upon the federal government, or at the very least, become this separate nation. And it didn't work out for them, did it? Now, I don't know if that's because, they just didn't have the resources or the political backing or whatever, but it didn't plan out for them. Why? Because they are the individual stores against corporate itself. And that's how the system works. That's why it's a republic. That's why it's a representative democracy. You have several branches of representatives. You have the ones that you literally use the word representatives, and then you have the Senate, and then you have your individual governor, and then you have presidents and Supreme Courts, and you have all these fucking people, and they're the ones that have to argue back and forth. Not you. You have very little to do with the matter. What you vote on when you go to the ballot box this year is you're going to vote for a senator, a House of Representative, and every state gets to have 2 of them. And you're going to vote on your individual state laws of whether or not you think that's a good idea to pass. But I don't even think you really have power on that. I think the governor ultimately decides that. But again, if he doesn't cater to you a little, he won't get elected next time around. That's all it is smoozing. That's all it is fucking palling around with each other, making each other false promises that you have no intention of keeping. And to just write that off as, yes, both parties are exactly alike. To some extent, that is true. They are alike, and we all know it's a joke. We all know it's a facade. We all know it's just smokes and mirrors. But at the very least, give it its credit. Give credit where it's due about why it's smokes and mirrors, about why it's a facade. It's not simply both parties are in bed with each other and with big business. That is a major aspect of it. But it was like that from its creation. From the moment the American country was founded upon, that's how they built the political system, and that was the end result of it. Why? Because the American country was founded on rich white men. Rich white men who didn't want to pay taxes. How the fuck did you think that kind of country was going to plan out? So, that's really all I have to say.